Hello everybody, today is our 31st Berlin Real Estate Talk. Today our topic is financing Berlin properties or German properties. Today our expert is Mr. Martin Bonnet. Martin, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. Good evening.
Martin is a very important person here in Berlin, Germany when it comes to financing properties. He's in this industry for over 20 years. His website is berlinfinance.eu. And please, if you have questions, of course, feel free to contact Martin anytime directly on his website. Follow us on our social media channels, like this video here. And if you have particular questions we should cover in one of our future videos, please contact us directly as well. Thank you for watching today. So hello everybody for the 31st Real Estate Talk together with Ms. Martin Bonnet, and we have just covered the German section regarding financing here in Berlin, Germany. Martin, I'll just quickly explain what you're doing. You are a finance broker here in Berlin, Germany for over 20 years, and you have financed more than how many apartments in your life or properties? Do you have a number? Approximately?
Well, approximately, just an assumption, between 1,500 2,000. Yeah, I'm doing this job now for more than 20 years.
Okay.
So it's just a rough breakdown.
So last year you have financed how many?
I would say some 150 properties. Big ones, small ones. Yeah, so difficult to...
How many people you have now employed?
I have 2 employees. Full-time employees, and I have some freelance partners.
Yeah.
2 to 3.
Okay. So what's your main job when you broker a finance here in Germany, especially for our international listeners and spectators tonight?
Yeah, my main job is to try to firstly learn the intentions of the client. So whether he has already found a property and wants to get the most appropriate mortgage for this particular property, or whether he's still in the state of looking for a property and wants to know what can fit to his plans and to his budget, and yeah, just to give him the advice he needs to take the next step.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What is important for international clients when they buy in Germany, and especially when they want to finance? What do they need to know?
Well, it is important that they have a little bit of an understanding how the German market functions, the German mortgage market, that they know what kind of investments they are looking for, whether this investment is or matches his economical potential, and yeah, so this is most important. And then he can have a chat with me, for example, tell me his situation, and I can give him advice on what can fit, what is possible. Looking at the German market, he has to be prepared to contribute some money from his side, from his part, because in general, lenders will only consider the potential rental income to cover the mortgage installments, not his income. They want to see a strong income, a sustainable income, but this is nothing they would or they will consider as a collateral, because for them, for bankers, it's too sophisticated to chase the client in his home country to get the money back. They only see the property itself as a collateral.
Okay.
There will be a personal liability, but it's more kind of a moral obligation that goes with it.
Okay. So what kind of deposit and interest rates people have to expect when they buy a property in Germany?
The deposit is should cover the purchase costs, which on average are, if you talk about Berlin, 8% for notary and stamp duty, or also called purchase tax, and another some 3%, I would say, for the can be a little bit more or less for the real estate agent, and if there is a real estate agent involved. And so this must be covered by equity, and then it depends on the property. So a client can get a mortgage of up to 70, even 80%, which then would mean that he had to contribute 30 to 20%. But it can also happen that a client can only get 50%, for example, 40 or 60, and then he would have to provide accordingly more on equity.
Okay. And interest rates? What kind of interest rates they have?
Interest rates depend. So we have one standard basic, I call them safety net lender, but they are very simple, straightforward. But they ask for interest rates slightly above 3%, which is very high. No German employee would take them because they can get better ones. So if you want to get near to interest rates that Germans could get, which is 1%, 1.5%, even 0.9% or 8%, then you have to go for lower loan to value. And you might have to possess some special features. So if you speak German, it can be an advantage. If you have a kind of a relationship to Germany, it can be of an advantage. So several things. If you reside in the EU, not outside the EU, especially in a country of the EU with the euro as home currency, this can be a big advantage. So there are several criteria which can help you to get a better rate. But I have a lot of clients who take the safety net because it would be too much hassle to go for.
I mean, I have to say, I think we are both now in the industry for quite a while. I think we are friends for over 10 years now, and you're in the market for 20 years, especially when it comes to international finance. And I have to say, in the recent times, especially during the Corona pandemic, I always advise my clients to go with a higher deposit and with that 3% interest rate. And if that doesn't work, you shouldn't buy the property. I have to say, it's the other options: opening bank accounts in Germany, flying to Germany, spending time in the quarantine, flying back to your home country, spending time in quarantine. It's not worth the hassle. So either the deal works with the 70, best case scenario 70% LTV, or it doesn't. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, you shouldn't buy it. That's it. I mean,
I think this absolutely applies for the majority of our clients, and reality shows that this is the case.
Yes,
absolutely.
And when it comes to the rental income, you just said that, the so-called non-recourse finance. The LTV ratio 70-30, and this is actually very positive. I think these days, with the rising prices here in Germany, 60% is more realistic at the moment for most products, not always. You have more equity, 40% deposit, plus the transaction costs, which is, let's say, 10% transaction costs, depending on which province in Germany you're buying, because the taxes are different. Also, the agency fees are a little bit different depending on which province you're buying. But in general terms, you're looking between 8 to 10%, sometimes even 12%. So you have to come up with minimum 30% deposit plus 12%. So you're looking at 40, sometimes up to 50% of the purchase price. And I think that's something people are not aware of when they see the listings. They say, oh, fantastic, I have 10% deposit, like in the States or like in Britain or in Ireland. That's not the case here in Germany. You have to come up with a significant deposit.
Absolutely. But on the other hand, I want to point out that we mortgage brokers must not have an attitude of laying back and telling the clients, look, we have one size fit all. We must not do this. We are obliged by law to get our clients the most appropriate mortgage, and this is why we need a discussion with the clients, even though, as you have absolutely correctly stated, in the end, it is this particular lender because it's the most appropriate one. But nevertheless, each client is considered individually and can be sure that he gets the best result possible for him.
We have another question from one of our clients who sent that to us by email. I just read out that question, if applicable. How do you see the banks reacting to the Ukraine situation, both the effects of increased gas costs and the obligation to freeze access to no doubt a very large number of important Russian people and potentially businesses?
Well, the gas prices, they had risen before Russian invaded into the Ukraine, so therefore the gas prices, they don't have a significant impact so far. So I can't see any impact of the gas prices. So, okay, now you can have a story, high gas prices, high inflation, but then you can also take crude, oil, whatever. So no, I cannot see any significant impact. Concerning the Russian clients, this is a huge impact. This is causing a lot of problems, more problems than many might think of. So the saying that the sanctions will not only hurt the Russians, but also our side is true, because I have a lot of Russian clients. They are in the middle of applications, and now it's stopped, and the projects are there. They cannot be terminated. This can lead to bankruptcies. This can have a negative impact on German partners. So we have to be very careful with the situation. I'm fully standing behind these sanctions, because business has to step behind human lives. This is no doubt. But we have to focus. So we have to take into consideration what can happen. And freezing the money of Russian clients and preventing Russian clients from business activities is a problem, because the Russians cannot pay the debts. They can't receive money at the moment. And
but is this for all Russians or just
all Russians? Yeah,
all Russians. Okay.
All Russians. Today I have had a conversation with a Russian client. He's lucky that he has got another passport as well, but he has been determined, I think it was last year, for protesting in favor of Navalny. And he says, now I'm being penalized twice. I was determined because I protested against Putin, and now I'm hit by the sanctions against Putin, although I had the guts to go into the street to demonstrate against Putin. Yeah, it's a tricky situation, but in these times, you have victims which are innocent, and there are a lot of people. I think it's very important that we keep the attitude to differentiate between the Russian people and the Russian government. And the Russian people, we can only hope that they understand the situation and that they take to the streets and tell what they think. I think, this is one key to the solution there, and the solution to the crisis might be that there is no concession from the Ukrainian side to Russian, but on the other hand, we must make sure that Russia can get out of this without losing too much of their face. So otherwise, there will not be peace.
Okay. Yeah, this is a very tough topic here. That hit us, of course, like everyone else, by surprise last week. And like I've said, if you're an international investor in Germany, of course, it will affect the property market one way or the other. Same the finance market, it's already happening. But we can't really tell, and I think that's what the person here is asking us, what that has an effect on the property prices. I mean, I have to say, from our client list, I would say less than 1% are Russian clients. There are enough German buyers, international buyers who want to buy in Germany, so I don't think that's going to have a massive effect on property prices. Of course, there will be certain clients, certain transactions will now be cancelled, or maybe I would say Russian investors might have problems or will have problems, but there are so many other people who would step in at the moment. So in general, looking on the market, I don't think it will have a huge impact.
That's absolutely right, but nevertheless, there will be an impact. Yeah, of course, yeah. But that's all right. I think the Russians if you look at all international investors, Russian investors make for not more than 2% overall, if at all. Yeah,
if at all.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. Do you have also Ukrainian investors?
Yes, of course.
Yes, but they have no.
Rather the opposite, fortunately.
Okay.
So they are being treated even better than before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think also
they don't get presents, they don't get gifts, but if there is an application, the banker will more than ever try to get it approved.
Yeah. So I think we covered the second question as well, Russian influence on the market, which is very, very low, let's put it this way. I think one of the reasons why it's so low is also that we have a very different tax regime here in Germany than in other European countries. So the income tax here is rather high. It doesn't mean for which country you're from. So pretty much for everyone it's the same. So there are no, I would put it this way, tax advantages for investors who are very rich. They have to pay the same tax like everyone else. Of course, there are legal ways with companies, creating special vehicle companies to buy properties, but that's something that everyone can do. It doesn't mean from which country you're from. So that's an open market here. So just coming back to a couple of other finance questions for you, Martin. So how did it change in the last couple of months? Inflation is high. Still, we have the corona pandemic. Can you give to our international clients some input, some feedback on the market?
Yeah, unfortunately, unlike with domestic lines, it has become more difficult to get mortgages for clients from abroad. We still have this lender we have just been discussing. With them, it's still possible, but they had a change in personnel, and there was a hard time with them as well. Now everything has calmed down, fortunately. So they appear to be back on the track of reliability, but banks are becoming less reliable, I have to say. I have had so many pre-checkings which turned out positive, and the approval, the application was finally declined, nevertheless, which was a surprise. I never had this before, I have to admit. So for me as a broker, the job has become harder. For the clients, it has become harder. Clients must more and more take into consideration to take advantage of the safety net if they cannot get another mortgage, another loan, and yeah, that's the case. So for whatever reason, there are several reasons, of course, yeah, but it has become more difficult. But it's still possible. It's still possible. So if I compare it with the situation 4 or 5 years ago, it was the same maybe like now. Then thereafter banks become interested more and more into providing loans for foreign investors, and this has now reduced to a level we had 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. Do you think that's because of the corona pandemic, or do you think that is a different
Several reasons. Corona and yeah, there's just the capacity, which of course is also influenced by corona, of course. A lack of capacities, so they can be more picky, which mortgages they want, and yeah, so that's the reason, and the whole situation on the market, like the discussion about cutting rents and all these things, also political issues, haven't contributed to encourage the trust of lenders into the government. So this is also something where banks have become a little bit cautious and become hesitant.
Okay. Do you have any, I would say we have quite a high inflation in Germany for German standards, which is, I think, at the moment, we're having the 1st of March 2022 at 5%, I think 5.1%, if I'm correct. Do you see any effects on that?
Well, as long as inflation is partly caused by rising energy prices or commodity prices, not really, because it will not necessarily lead into higher interest rates. But if we get this spiral of rising wages and rising prices, then it can have an impact. It will have an impact, and then I'm sure we will see higher interest rates.
Okay. What's your feeling on the market? I mean, how much has the interest risen, especially for international investors, in the past 2-3 months?
Well, fortunately, concerning this, the lender most investors use, not so much, hasn't risen at all, because it's relatively high already. So, and they want business, so I don't expect them to increase the interest rate there. For other borrowers, it has risen by between half a percentage point to more than a percentage point.
Okay. What's your feeling for the outlook, the future interest rate? We think by if we both have the next call.
On the very short notice, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a correction, so that interest rates will reduce a little bit. But the midterm or in the long run, I would rather expect rising interest rates. Yeah. Whether they skyrocket or whether they rise moderately, it's too early to predict.
Okay. There's also a question here, from the chat. People have sent to us beforehand. What do you think is happening if the bank would re-evaluate a client, especially now we had this problem with Russia, or maybe with other countries? We don't know what's going to happen, with this war. Hopefully it ends soon, but we don't know what's going on. Do you think that banks would also reconsider existing clients when they have signed a mortgage contract with them, cancel the contract because they're from the wrong country, or maybe they think the property is actually worth less than they have valued before? Do you think this is a risk?
Oh, very good question, but very difficult to answer. I think it's not possible to cancel an ongoing mortgage. So a mortgage is more or less safe for as long as the client pays the installments for the time interest rates has been fixed for. Whether or what a bank would do then once the interest rate, the period the interest rate is fixed for expires with such a client, rejects an extension or whatever, I don't know. I would rather think that this wouldn't be the case because the approval is still there, but I don't know. Definitely no cancellation during the period of fixed interest rate, rather no cancellation after the period of fixed interest has expired, but the client might have to stay with the same bank, cannot go to another bank. It also depends on how many clients are impacted by this. So if it's a small number, I don't see that banks will take measures that which are not liked. So it can happen then, yeah. So like if you ask for the evaluation, a new evaluation of a property, if we have not many clients which are impacted by this, then banks might really actually do this. If we have a vast number of clients who would be impacted by this, then of course, because this could trigger an overall downward spiral, and it could harm the whole market. And it could be a huge problem then. So very difficult.
So let's looking out a little bit of course we have a couple of minutes left for the English section here.
Yeah,
another question regarding the opening bank accounts. We get asked many times, how easy is it to open a bank account in Germany for an international investor?
Well, let me define it as a bank account which can be used for a mortgage with a German lender and to collect the rental income. It still appears to be possible either directly by international providers like Wise, which is accepted by some lenders, or if a client happens to come to Germany by a German bank here, Commerzbank, Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank, I think, requires that you have an address, a postal address. Maybe you have a friend who accepts that you put your name on this mailbox. So such things, or maybe by your property management. So they can open an account for you. The account would be in the property management's name, but you would be the beneficiary. But
so just quickly, so we do that, for instance, for our clients. Our partner company, Black Label Property Management, does this, and I think other management companies, few of them who are specialized with international clients, we open bank accounts, but they are trustee accounts, I would call them, or escrow accounts, where we only collect the rental income and the bank would deduct the mortgage interest.
Exactly,
and
nothing else.
It's not like a current account or trading account you can work with.
No, you must not use it for other purposes.
Yes.
Just things that are directly related to the property.
So I quickly come to a little bit more positive, Martin, in terms of the future outlook. What can clients do if they have found a property in Germany and they want a mortgage? What do you recommend them? How should they put in the application with yourself?
Well, ideally they let me very quickly learn about their personal situation, in a sense of their situation, like whether they're married, their age, whether they have children, and their economical situation, whether they have any ongoing debts. Of course, the income is essential. income, what kind of income it is, what kind of profession, professional state, whether they are employed, self-employed, and so on and so on, so that I get a good idea of their situation. If they have if they already possess a property or have a property in mind, a particular property, they should of course provide me with the features of this property. Then I can see whether these things match each other. Yeah, that's the best start of all.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for watching tonight. I think it was good having you today here. Martin, thank you.
Thank you
for
having me in the show.
Thank you. It's a very difficult time at the moment for, I think, for all of us with this recent events. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact Martin Bonnet under his website or email address, which is berlinfinance.eu. Is this correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Yes, so you can Google him. There's also a link here in our chat, especially on our website, where you can find his website, of course, as well. So please feel free to contact him anytime when it comes to financing a property here in Berlin, Germany. Thank you for watching tonight. Bye-bye.
Thank you.